I'm going to break down exactly how you can protect your money from the effects of inflation and also explain the cause of inflation so that you get a better understanding of it, whether you're trying to guard your savings or investments. I'm going to be revealing proven strategies to ensure your money grows or, at the very least, stays secure even when everything is getting more and more expensive. So make sure not to miss the end of the video, because toward the end we're going to be covering some really aggressive strategies in inflation, not just about protection but more about making money during those kind of environments. And before we dive in, I want to share a little bit about my journey. And you see, over the last 4 years we have seen the craziest inflation of our lifetimes, but I have made the most money I've ever made in my life. I mean, we're talking fancy cars, Ferraris, multiple Porsches, multiple Teslas, houses in Dubai, amazing stuff, really, really good life. And it's all because of the opportunities that inflation actually presents to make money. A lot of other people have been doing it. You've been watching it happen. And I don't even think that we're at the end of this yet. I think that there's a lot more to go. So I'm going to be breaking this down with you all in this YouTube video. So definitely make sure to get ready, eliminate any distractions for the next 10 minutes, and make sure to watch this video all the way to the end so that you don't miss out on any important information on how to protect yourself from inflation. And let's get started. All right, so there's only one critical pillar that I'm going to start this video off with, and it is that all money should be 100% invested as a beginning point. I want to paint a picture for you of what the ideal situation looks like, right? What you got to understand about inflation is that you can't get away from it, right? Inflation is what happens around you in your life. The price of bread goes up, the price of fuel goes up, the price of clothes go up. You can't do anything about it. You have to live, you have to pay for stuff. You're gonna have to deal with inflation. But what we want to achieve is where our money grows faster than inflation. It's the only way that you can beat it. It's not gonna stop. And so what you need to be doing is living off the interest of your investments, right? And a lot of people, it's a whole different discussion how to get there, and we're going to be getting into that in just a minute. If you're excited for it all, do me a favor and smash up those likes with this video. But what you need to understand is that living off interest is the power position to be in, right? Imagine you've got $5 million locked away in an account earning you, 8% per year, okay? And let's say that the rate of inflation is 3%. Okay, if you're getting 3% inflation, but you've gained 8% on your money, you're earning 5% extra spending power per year. So that's a really important number, because 5% on 5 million is $250,000. It's the ultimate way to live off your money and also be anti-fragile to inflation, because you're making more than inflation every single year and you're able to live off the remaining amount. Now, this is obviously not a super simple conversation, because not everybody has $5 million. So we actually need to start looking at how we can make the money as well. But it's a critical starting point, because even if you're not there yet, at least now you have a very clear idea of where you want to get to, so that you can actually visualize what that's going to look like and what you're actually working towards. Because for some people it's going to be that number, for other people it's going to be more, and for other people it's going to be less, and it doesn't really matter. But the point is that your capital needs to be making you that much money. And in terms of how to do it, I think that's actually very simple, right? A lot of you have already got your eyes on something as it is, but simple opportunities, things like the S&P 500 index, or if you're in the UK, the UK 100, or if you're in Germany, Germany's DAX, or the Japanese index market, I believe the JP 500. There are so many different indices, and basically all these are collections of the top companies in your country, and you basically put a bit of money on them and you expect that they're going to make you that stable 5 to 8% per year. It may happen, it may not happen. That's not really the point. The point is that those are super safe places that money can be parked up in. Another great one, I think, right now is gold, right? If you take a look at gold, again, all you've got to keep in mind is that if the average inflation rate is going to be 3% or 5 or 8% per year, that's what you have to make every year to just break even on inflation costs. And if you take a look at gold, just since the beginning of this year, gold itself has moved up by about 25%. So gold has moved up by way more than what inflation would move up by in 1 year. So any single year of making some money from investments, in and of itself, any single year of just making money on investments is going to pay off your inflation for a couple of years, depending on how much money you made. And that alone is really, really good. My personal favorite option is obviously going to be Bitcoin, because I understand Bitcoin and I've been inside of this game for over 7 years now. I know it in and out. I think Bitcoin is the safest place for me to put my money, and of course it's been working out really well for me because it makes way more money than the rate of inflation for me in my experience, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And so these kind of investment opportunities are great ways to kind of safeguard yourself from these inflation situations. But another thing which I think a lot of people don't really consider is the angle of making money. You see, the thing about inflation is you got to look at where this money goes, right? And if it's something like right after the pandemic, we saw a lot of money going into the hands of people that were just ready to spend it super quickly. Some of those people spent it on genuine items that they really needed, like, I don't know, a baby stroller or diapers. But a lot of people spent it on items that they didn't need, like designer clothing. And a lot of people spent it on things like the stock market and on Bitcoin. And we saw this, right? If you go back to 2021, there were tons and tons of people signing up to Robinhood for the first time, just throwing their $600 stimulus checks into the market and then losing it all in the next week. And there were tons and tons of people doing the same thing, but with Bitcoin and so on. So a lot of people who get this money for free, they actually throw it back into the market. So you get tons of opportunities in the markets to trade. And if you're interested in that kind of thing, that's where I live. That's what I take advantage of. We love that stuff. We love it when new people come into the game, because I was a new person once in the game. I was absolutely horrible. I was so bad. Lost all of my money multiple times. And you get to do that to the new people that come in. If you want to learn about it, you can check it out using the links on screen or whatever, so you can get into my resources on how to actually slay in these markets. And it's way more than that. You know, we're not just interested in taking that easy candy. There's candy all over the place if you're a trader, but there's also just the understanding that a lot of other people are going to be having a little bit of disposable income in their pocket when there's free money going around from the government, right? And so all it takes is just going to people who, you know, after that inflation has happened, going to people who have a little bit of extra money in their pocket and just taking it from them by offering them a service, right? I mean, you know, this is literally as simple as mowing the lawn, if you want to be very untechnical like that, or this can be as complex as showing people, for example, like I said, a lot of people want to start trading when they get their free money from the government, giving those people an easy opportunity to get into the market. You stand in between them and wherever they want to get to, collect a little bit of money along the way. This can be in the form of offering them services, giving them really cool ebooks on how to do stuff. It can be tons and tons of stuff, but there's always going to be a market when there's new money coming in, and you can actually stand in the middle of that and take advantage of it. The world is crazy right now. Things are absolutely insane, right? With the pandemic, you had so many very obvious opportunities to be making money. Delivery companies and stuff like that in a very strong position. And obviously, I remember back in 2020 when the whole market crash was happening and the inflation stuff was going rampant, I remember that Boeing stock was at really low price levels. So if you just apply a bit of logic, everybody knows that, you know, the airline company, the airline industry was obviously going to recover after the pandemic. And, you know, just buying a little bit of Boeing stock while it was down really low, clearly out of fear, these are kind of easy opportunities that can double your money if you played it right, stuff like that. And, you know, at that point, inflation's something that you've outrun by such a large margin that you're not even thinking about it anymore. You know, you couldn't care less. You're going to be in a position a little bit more like what I've found myself in over these last 4 years, where, you know, it doesn't matter how much inflation happens. You've reached escape velocity, right? I mean, inflation's catching up to you bit by bit by bit, but you've just absolutely shot up and escaped it, and it ain't coming back for you anytime soon. And I think that is very reassuring. So there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of protect yourself in these environments, but they're not that interesting compared to the ways that you can make money, because those aggressive strategies are not only going to protect you in the first place, but they're also just going to elevate your position to a completely different level. And then once you get there, like I said, the absolute fundamental point is that money should be invested as a beginning point and anybody that can should just be living off the interest from that. And again, that can be in the form of bonds, that can be in the form of treasuries, and all that other super complicated stuff. We worry about that stuff when we get there. That's not the hard part. But for now, I think the main thing is just going to be understanding that when there's a lot of inflation going on, there's going to be a lot more money flowing through the economy. There's going to be a lot more opportunities to take money from people through little business ventures. You got to try a bunch of shit, fail at a bunch of shit. It does not matter. It's going to be good for you. You're going to learn a lot of skills. You're going to be able to take money from people and offer them really good value in return for it. You're going to have to earn it. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be some work involved. But once you get there, you're going to be in a better place just because you've got more income for the first time, and you're going to know what to do with it so that you can keep it. And now you're going to be playing in the real game of money that everybody is interested in. Thank you all for watching. If you've enjoyed this one, you know exactly what to do. Hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.